what does scaling your commercial real estate business actually look like? If you're like most commercial real estate principals, you've already built something solid. You've got a foundation with clients and recurring revenue and a bit of a team in place, but maybe you're feeling like you've hit a ceiling. Deep down, you want to grow, but also you're hesitant because you don't want more chaos, and growth represents pain or chaos. You might have heard of the pain line. Dan Martell talks about it, and he says that if growing your business is going to cause you more pain, then you won't do it, because we don't grow into pain. So what we need is 3 levers that can create sustainable growth in a commercial real estate business. I want to give you those levers today. Those levers are systems, people, and the right strategic moves. This is episode 242 of Commercial Real Estate Leadership. We're the show that's helping you lead better, grow faster, and stress less. And I don't say this to give you any stress, but you know there's only 10 weeks left until Christmas? Isn't that wild? How long does a campaign run? Less than 10 weeks. How long does it take to turn a lead into a client? Less than 10 weeks. Could you turn a lead into a transaction between now and Christmas? Definitely you can, but the runway is getting shorter and shorter every single day. So now's the time to be starting to think about what it is that you want to get done between now and the end of this year. By the way, my name's Darren Krakowiak, and by the end of today's conversation, you're going to have a practical checklist to get to the next phase of growth, not between now and Christmas, but we're talking more about medium, long-term growth in a profitable and peaceful way, because we're taking a look at the systemization dividend, also how to create leverage through the right hires, through people in your business, and also the strategic moves that are required to help you break through plateaus and hit the next phase of growth in your business. And I want to get right into it today. We're starting off with systems, because this is where scale actually starts. Every process that you take the time to document today is going to eventually pay you back in time, in profit, and in peace of mind. Yes, it does take some time to document a process, but once it's documented and it can be followed by somebody else, then you don't have to do it anymore. The best performing agencies that I work with are not necessarily the biggest, but they're the ones that have the best systems, because they know how things are done, they know who's responsible, and they've got a way to measure success. So think about all of the little things that are happening in your business every single week. Things like handing over an opportunity to property management after a transaction is done. Things like vendor reporting, updating a vendor on the status of a campaign, or maybe onboarding new property management clients. If you can create a repeatable process for those, you're not just saving time, you're creating consistency and also accountability. So I want to give you a simple framework to start with this. Just pick one recurring process in your business, maybe one of those examples I mentioned, or maybe you've got some even lower hanging fruit that you can pick. Write down the exact steps that are involved in that process, and then assign clear leadership for the handling of that process. That's it, right? It can be as simple as a checklist. A process is, it's documented, it's simplified, it's simple enough that someone who is in the position of responsibility can take it, and then it's followed, okay? So we've got to make sure people are actually following the process. So that's as simple as it can be. One of my clients in our group coaching program for commercial real estate principals recently demonstrated how he's using Monday.com to manage all the processes in his business. It's a fantastic way to document processes if you've got a number of them. Of course, it can be very simple, just a checklist, but if you're more advanced in this, I think that's a good way to go, to start documenting them and start using automation, linking it with your CRM to make the processes and the systems work harder for you and not the other way around. Because when your business is running on a set of tracks, if you think of train tracks, it can move faster, right? You don't have to push it as hard or get it back on track when things go off the rails, when you've got systems and processes that keeps everything on track. So that's systems. Next one is people. And I want to talk about hiring, and hiring in a way which perhaps is a little bit counterintuitive to grow revenue in your business. Now, no matter how good your systems are, if you don't have the right people running them, then the systems aren't of much use. And you can't scale a business that relies on you for every decision, for every deal, and for solving every problem. So the goal is to build a structure to have people in your business where everyone knows what success looks like, and you're kind of like the conductor, right? Not the train conductor from the last metaphor, but the conductor of the band. And you're not a member of the band playing an instrument, but you're up the front making sure everything is working in unison and everyone is playing your role. Now, the counterintuitive thing about hiring is the amount of growth that can be unlocked in your business by hiring someone who doesn't actually have any revenue against their name, right? Hiring someone junior who can take admin, research, and servicing small properties off your plate so you can focus on leadership and higher value activities, and so your rainmakers can do the same. Now, a common rule of thumb in commercial real estate is that we want employees to contribute at least 3 times their base salary back to the business in revenue that they produce. And that means that some principals are reluctant to hire junior resources when that payback rate is not clear. Like, how is this person who's hired for $60,000, how are they going to make $180,000 for the business? But I think if you find someone with the right attitude and someone who can create capacity within the business, you can easily create $200,000 in extra revenue when they're working on things that frees up a lot of your time to do the things that only you can do. And instead of you doing all the things that someone else could do just as well as you could do if you just showed them how to do it, right? So think of all the things that you're currently doing that somebody else could do if you just showed them. And then once you've got enough of those things that you could also have a process around, you can then hand over that process to a hire and you can reallocate your time to doing more of the dollar productive, revenue generating tasks that are going to grow revenue by at least 3 times more than the cost of that junior resource. Because when you delegate effectively, you don't just create time, you create the capacity for growth. Now, I want to talk about one more growth lever that I've been talking with some clients about recently, and that is strategic moves. So this is expanding without overextending. And some of the conversations I've been having with clients recently, they're quite wide ranging, including acquisitions of rent rolls, starting up new service lines, opening new offices, and a couple of clients have been looking at rebrands, okay? So these are topics that have come up with my clients that are quite exciting, and certainly they can be a way to fast track growth, but it's only going to fast track growth if your foundation is strong, okay? So before you say yes to any big strategic moves, I want you to pause and think about these 3 key questions. Number 1, does this align with my long-term vision? Number 2, do we have the systems to be able to absorb this change? And number 3, will this dilute my focus, and can I handle that? Do I have the team in place to be able to help me handle that dilution in my focus? Because not every opportunity is going to be something that's going to drive more growth. Some are actually distractions that are wearing opportunities' clothes, right? Like a wolf in sheep's clothing. If your core business still relies on you to function, doubling the size of the business is only going to double your stress. Now, big strategic moves do sometimes come with a bit of leverage or know-how that's inbuilt. So there might be systems that you acquire or people that you bring on board as part of some of these big strategic moves. But you will still need to acquire skills to drive that new machine. And if you've already got systems in place and you're hiring people and you've got them working on the right things, you're going to be better placed to be able to drive that new Ferrari that you've just got your hands on, right? So get existing systems in place. Having a team that's already accountable and a culture as well that's clear is going to make sure that you can grow without breaking or causing new problems that you're not equipped to handle once you make this strategic move. So before you make the move, just make sure you've got the processes and people to handle it. So I just want to bring this all together in terms of what we've been talking about today. It's a bit of a playbook for smarter scaling, and it really comes down to 3 things. The first thing is systemizing for consistency. When your business runs on structure, you unlock predictability, and predictability creates profitability. Number 2 is to empower your people to hire intentionally, to delegate clearly, and to trust your team to deliver. And just remember that your role is like the conductor. You're up there to lead, not to play the instruments, not to do. And thirdly, we want to expand strategically. So grow when your systems and culture and people can handle the load. And just remember that not every opportunity is going to be aligned with your long-term plan. Okay, your short-term excitement might not be aligned with the long-term plan for the business. So this is how you scale, but scale sustainably. Yes, we can hustle and we can do some things between now and the end of the year to create a bit of activity between now and then, but we don't want to add chaos when we're looking to make bigger moves that are going to drive the fundamental underlying growth capacity of our business. We want clarity about the decisions that we're making. We want to grow faster, but also grow stronger because we've got the foundations in place. And when you get this right, I think the business feels a little bit less heavy and it starts to flow better. Now, if you're ready to scale your business in a smarter way with the right structure, with less stress and with a stronger team, I would love to help you. You can send me a message on LinkedIn, just DM me the word grow, or you can visit cresuccess.co/leadership. And on that page, you'll get a bit of information about how we help commercial real estate principals to lead their people better, to grow their business faster, and to have less stress in their lives. And if you did get any value from today's episode, I would love it if you can share it with another commercial real estate principal or maybe a leader who's building something big. That is our episode for today. Thank you so much for listening. I will speak to you soon.